everybody. It's Dr. Jones in the house, and I have just arrived, believe it or not, about an hour ago, hour and a half ago in the United States. So I'm now back in the United States after a whirlwind, fantastic vacation in Ghana. A wonderful time, beautiful time, and great experience. Saw family, friends, traveled around the country and savored the culture, the music, the people, the food, the nightlife, the entertainment. It was good, and so I'm now back in the U.S. It's been about just over an hour ago. Still trying to readjust to the time difference. There are 5 hours ahead of us, so technically it's about midnight over there, and so on. So I'm going to try and see if I can keep this Wealth Wednesday a little bit brief so I can try and get some sleep and try and readjust to the US, time zone and everything. So anyway, so today's session, we're going to talk about real estate and lifestyle design, specifically, when to hold and when to sell and when to travel, I suppose, have a good time and really enjoy the fruits of your labors, as they say. Real estate, in my opinion, is a means to an end. It's not the end; it's the means to the end. The end is, the ability to take control of your life, take control of your time. Do things that are important to you. And real estate allows that to happen. It's a slow process. It's not something that happens overnight. It takes many, many years, especially the strategy I do, which is buy and hold. And but it does work. And so I kind of want to talk about that today, just based on the fact that having spent the last couple of weeks or so, 2.5 weeks in Ghana, and believe it or not, I'm traveling again next Saturday. I'm going to Trinidad and Tobago. I'll be going over there for a couple of weeks. They have a carnival, one of the famous carnivals in Trinidad. So I haven't been there before. So I will be going to Trinidad and Tobago. So I'll be heading out next Saturday, not this Saturday, Saturday after. So I said my goal is to do more travel, as you know. And at some point, as I said before, you have to enjoy the fruits of the labor, and that's why I want to, hopefully motivate you into taking action, and and really taking real estate seriously. There's a lot of stuff going on in DC, Washington DC, and also in the US, based on what the current government is doing. And so at some point, we need to focus on taking control as opposed to giving control to other people to dictate our destiny and our financial independence and things like that. Okay, so let's get going. Again, I hope you're doing well wherever you are. And if you got some questions, as always, put them in the chat box. I'll be getting to them about 20 minutes from now. And if you want to book a one-on-one with me, I'm now back in the US, so you can schedule a one-on-one with me. Anything to do with real estate, any questions, any issues, deal that you're looking at, any tenant issues, problems, please book a one-on-one with me, and I'll be more than happy to spend some time and do a deep dive. I think I'll go on tomorrow, I think. Book a one-on-one if you feel I can be of assistance and leverage my over 35 years worth of experience. Okay, so today, as I said before, we're going to focus on real estate and lifestyle design, when to hold, when to sell, and when to travel. I mean, these are things which I'm facing. Do I sell some properties? Do I keep some properties? Do I, leverage the equities in some of these properties? And that's what we're going to talk about today. So let's get going. So are you stuck in the cycle of indecision, kind of unsure of whether to hold on to your properties, cash out for profit, or leverage your investment for a richer life experience? The reality is that many real estate investors, from beginners or to seasoned investors, like you and I, grapple with this dilemma on a regular basis. So knowing when to hold, when to sell, and when to use real estate as a vehicle for travel and lifestyle design can mean the difference between a stagnant growth and potentially financial freedom. So, so what does that mean? While successful investors have mastered the balance, others have struggled, facing setbacks that could have been avoided with better strategy and insight. So they're struggling with, what should we do? I've got this house. I've had this house for a number of years. It's current rental. What do I do? Do I sell it? Do I keep it? Do I cash in on the equity that's accumulated over these period of times? And so I can sort of increase my portfolio and fast track my portfolio. So, a successful real estate investor's portfolio, really isn't just about collecting properties. It's about really using those assets to work for you, leveraging what these assets allow you to do, which is cash flow, appreciation, equity buildup, debt pay down, tax benefits. All those things should be working in your favor. So, there are too many investors who will hold on to properties, really out of fear of making the wrong move, while others, sometimes just sell too early or sell too soon and miss out on long-term appreciation. I don't normally sell my houses, but there's been a couple especially when I was flipping some houses, I really, really regret selling some of those houses. I flipped it and made some money, but I spent the money on God knows what. But I've lost the asset now, and some of these assets have appreciated in value. So I've lost out on that. So understanding the right time to hold, to sell, or leverage properties can maximize your returns and provide you with financial stability that allows for greater personal freedom, including, like what I do, ability to travel, retire early, or fund major life goals. So this live stream today, we're going to kind of delve into the lessons learned, my lessons learned, the good, the bad, the ugly, hopefully offer you with actionable insights from, my experiences, other investors' experiences who have navigated each of these strategies over the years. So by the end of this live stream, you'll have the tools, hopefully, and the knowledge to make informed decisions that align you with your long-term financial and lifestyle aspirations. So let's just get going. I broke into 5 parts today. So part 1, which deals with, when should you hold a rental property? When should you hold your rental property? Or I suppose more, the question was, how do you know if holding onto a rental property is the best decision for you? How do you know? If it's in your interest to hold on to this thing, and does it make sense for you? So that's what we're going to talk about, number 1. So holding on to a rental property can be a game-changing wealth building strategy. It can be holding assets, holding properties. It can be a game changer, but only if it's done for the right reasons. A well-managed cash flowing property can provide you with long-term passive income. It can be a hedge against inflation, and also it can build generation wealth. That's what holding on to properties allow you to do, especially if you're in an appreciated market. However, holding on to the wrong property, can sometimes be a bad thing. It can drain your resources, especially if the asset fails to appreciate. If it does fail to appreciate, it can be a negative thing, really. So successful investors analyze key indicators before deciding whether to hold on to a property or not. So things to look at are positive cash flow. Are you getting monthly cash flow every month? If so, how much? Are you in an area where there's a strong market appreciation? Are prices going to go up? That may be a good reason to hold on to property. Tax advantages. There are definitely tax advantages with owning long-term assets as opposed to short-term flips. And also you want to consider, what's the maintenance costs associated with this asset? Is this an asset where you have to constantly feed it because stuff is going wrong? All these things, all these factors. Are you generating cash flow? Is there strong market appreciation potential? Are you generating tax benefits like depreciation from this property, and is this a low maintenance asset? Those things pulled together will kind of give you an idea whether you should, if even if it's worth keeping or not. So many investors have substantial portfolios, have built, substantial portfolios, by just holding on to properties in emerging markets or in high demand rental areas. So if you're in an area whereby it's emerging, i.e., it's in, gentrification, or it's on the path of growth, and there's a high demand, then it may be a good idea to hold on to that stuff. On the flip side, though, some investors have suffered from holding on to underperforming assets. Underperforming, which means that it's negative cash flow. It's not really meeting your expectations, your financial goals, and they hold on to this stuff just due to emotional attachment, or the reluctance to take a loss. So one major mistake investors make is failing to regularly assess the performance of their properties. Because if you um, you know assess, do some analysis, it'll give you some idea whether it makes sense to hold it or whether to sell it or not. So understanding when to hold a property requires periodic evaluation and a willingness to make adjustments when needed. So, for those considering long term wealth accumulation, holding on to a property can make a lot of sense, especially if it generates consistent positive cash flow, has strong appreciation potentials, and aligns with your overall financial goals. There are some properties which I have which I will never sell, because they're in they're in very desirable locations. I'm getting cash flow. I've upped the number of bedrooms, so I'm getting more rents, which is higher than market, and so it just makes more sense for me to hold on to these properties. So the key is to remain flexible and make data-driven decisions rather than emotional, ones as well. So additionally, understanding how external factors such as local job market, what's going on locally, are there economic downturns, demographic shifts, these things also influence a property's value, and it's also a very important factor when deciding whether to hold on to a property or not. So many investors successfully hold properties in up and coming neighborhoods that are on the verge of economic revitalization, ensuring strong rental demand and increasing appreciation over time. So, what are some of the action items you can do here? Regularly assess cash flow and appreciation potential, monitor local market trends and rental demand, and also refinance high interest rate loans to improve property cash flow. So that's number one, which is all about when should you hold on to a property. Number two is when is the right time to sell your property? When is the right time to sell? So the question is, what are the signs that indicate selling the property is the best move? So let's talk about when's the right time to sell. Selling a property can unlock capital for bigger and better opportunities, but also the key is timing. Are you selling at the right time? And I'll talk about what that time means. So many investors hesitate to sell, worried about missing out on future appreciation. Yes, I probably fall into that bracket as well. While others rush into it without really having a clear strategy. Successful real estate investors sell when they recognize peak market conditions, prices are high buyer demand. There's a lot of demand for your property. And also if there are diminishing profitability, i.e. profits are going down due to things like increasing maintenance costs, or declining rental demand. So these are some of the things to consider, and so on. So um, other cash out, others cash out to reinvest in high yield properties or to fund major life goals such as early retirement or extensive travel. What I'm saying here is sometimes You just sell because you want to have a good time. You've got other assets that you want to sort of move into, and you need money, and so on. So there are definitely reasons why people sell. However, those who sell too soon without considering capital gain taxes, reinvestment strategies, or even market conditions can often regret their decisions, especially if you're subject to short-term capital gain. Another downsides of selling the property. So knowing when to sell involves a deep understanding of the real estate market locally where you are. And therefore, investors who track property values, interest rates, and economic conditions can really make informed decisions about when to exit. So you're not sort of selling based on gut feelings or impulse. No, you are based on informed decisions by such things as you're tracking property values, your interest rates locally, and also the economic conditions associated with where your property is located. So selling at the right time can mean significant financial boost that allows for future investment or lifestyle upgrades. So there's a good time to sell. Obviously, you want to sell when people are buying, and it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to sell. You want to sell when people are buying, and you don't want to sell really unless you have to when people are not buying. So if you have things like increase in expenses due to things like insurance, property taxes, maintenance costs, it may be a good sign to sell at that point. So what you need to do is to evaluate whether a property's earning potential is declining, i.e., the amount of money you're making from this property is declining over time, and that will then determine whether it makes sense to cash out and move on. So what are some of the action items associated with, when to sell? Track market trends and property value appreciation. That's a good thing to know. Conduct a cost benefit analysis of selling versus holding, and also utilize 1031 exchanges to deter your capital gains if and when you decide to sell. So let's move on to number 3. So number 1, we talk about when it's the right time to hold. Number 2, we talked about when's the right time to sell. And number 3, we're talking about leveraging equity for growth. So the question here is, how can real estate investors like you and I use equity to sell our portfolios or to scale our portfolios? But that probably makes more sense. So rather than selling, many investors choose to leverage their property's equity to expand their portfolio. So you don't have to always sell. You can leverage the equity. So you can tap into that equity either through refinancing, get a home equity line of credit, a HELOC, or you can do a cash out refinance. So investors who successfully leverage equity do so with a clear plan. They want to reinvest in the properties or new properties, and that promise better or more attractive returns. Also, it can help you fund your renovations to increase the rental income. So, however, misusing equity, such as taking out cash for unnecessary expenses, crazy stuff, new cars, new doodads, as Robert Kiyosaki talked about. If you waste that, then it could lead you into financial strain. So leveraging equity is particularly beneficial for investors seeking to scale their portfolios without having to sell any of their profitable assets. So by refinancing at the right time, investors can also increase their buying power while keeping their their best performing properties. So you don't always have to sell it in order to leverage the power of the asset that you have. One of the things that we could do is to get a home equity line of credit, which will then allow you to tap into the equity associated with the asset. So understanding the cost of borrowing and how debt affects your overall financial health is very important. And investors must ensure that they do not over leverage. Don't max out the loan of your, especially your rental properties, because excessive borrowing can erode profits and expose the assets, I suppose, to financial risk, especially if during the economic downturns. So, what are some of the action items associated with leveraging equity for growth? Calculate your property's equity uh, and borrowing potential. Use funds to acquire cash flowing properties and also refinance strategically to lower interest rates and increase cash flow. So again, if you got some questions, put them in the chat box. I'm going to get to you in about 5 to 10 minutes. Anything to do with real estate. Likewise, if you want to book a one-on-one with me, you can do so by going to www.joeasamoah.com, www.joeasamoah.com, and you can sign up for a Ask Dr. Joe one-on-one consult. They are really, really good. If there's no point getting stuck, getting frustrated. Leverage the talents and my expertise and experience, hopefully to your benefit as well. So let's keep going. Number 4, using real estate to fund a life of travel. This is what I'm doing, using real estate to fund a life of travel. I suppose the question is, how can real estate investments provide financial freedom for travel? How can real estate investments provide financial freedom for travel? That's a good question. Well, many investors, real estate investors anyway, they want to use real estate to create a financial freedom, and travel is one of the biggest lifestyle goals it can support. So by structuring investments strategically, investors can generate passive income that funds extended vacations or even a nomadic lifestyle where you're kind of roaming from place to place. So cash flow rental properties, short-term vacation rentals, and also strategic refinancing can all be tools to make this vision a reality. Successful investors like you and I have really used real estate to fund travel, focus on properties that require minimal, I suppose, hands-on management. They either outsource property management to professionals or utilize technology to automate tasks such as rent collection, debt management, and things like that. Okay, so again, great communication is really important in this space here. So having a well-structured real estate portfolio allows these types of investors the best of both worlds, earning income while traveling. Okay, additionally, investors can leverage refinancing and home equity lines of credit, HELOCs, to fund travel without disrupting their long-term investment. I'm a strong proponent of leveraging the powers that you have, leveraging the assets that you have, and hopefully it allows you to buy more properties, stabilize some of the properties that you have, and hopefully allow you to gain financial independence over a period of time. So what are some of the action items associated with using real estate to fund a life of travel, I suppose? What are some of the things that you may want to consider? I suppose, optimize rental properties for passive income, automate property management for minimal oversight, and also use refinancing or HELOCs to fund travel goals. So let's get straight to number 5. We got 5. I think that's going to be the last one's 5. Then we're going to do the Q&A shortly. So get your questions together and fire away. I'd be more than happy to try my best to answer some of the questions that you have. So what are the biggest mistakes that real estate investors have made or are making, and how can you try to avoid that? So that's what we're going to talk about next. Is what are the biggest mistakes investors make, and how can they be avoided? Well, even experienced investors make mistakes. I mean, I've made mistakes. I'm sure you've made mistakes. It is what it is, but it's really important to understand the common pitfalls And hopefully that will allow you to learn from your mistakes and hopefully avoid making the same mistakes in the future. So one of the biggest mistakes that investors have is over leveraging. Over leveraging, that's a good one. Taking on too much debt without a solid cash flow plan. So taking too much debt, and the bottom line is that the landlord wants their money, and if you're hard up, it could be a problem. So one of the biggest mistakes is over leveraging and taking on too much debt without a solid cash flow plan. So investors who borrow excessively may find themselves struggling to meet mortgage payments during economic downturns or rental vacancies. So another common pitfall is failing to conduct proper due diligence. Yes, proper due diligence. So some investors purchase properties in declining markets, and they focus on evaluating maintenance and also rental demand in that area. This can lead to long-term losses, making it difficult to achieve financial independence. Oh, I'm sorry, I haven't slept. Okay, some of the action items. Avoid over leveraging by maintaining a balanced debt to income ratio. Conduct a thorough market research before purchasing a property and set up a reserve fund to cover unexpected expenses and property maintenance. So let's just get down to wrapping it up. I'm going to talk about conclusion. So really by making informed decisions about when to hold, sell, or leverage, it really can transform your investment strategy and your lifestyle. So by understanding market conditions, assessing property performance, and also utilizing smart financial strategies, investors can build a sustainable, and in my opinion, a profitable portfolio. So for those seeking financial freedom, real estate provides the flexibility, it really does, the flexibility to create passive income, travel, enjoy life without constant financial stress. The key is to align investment decisions with your long term goals. And if you can, avoid emotional decision making. Ultimately, the most successful investors view real estate as more than just a financial tool. They see it as a vehicle for designing their lives, the lives that they want. So, whether your goal is to build wealth, travel the world, or retire early, a well planned real estate strategy can help you get there. I'm a proof that it can. So, take the time to educate yourself, learn from successful investors, and apply these strategies, the ones that I've talked about today, really to build your real estate portfolio. And that is designed to support the dreams and aspirations that you have. So, my friends, that's it for today in terms of the education part. And so we're going to go to Ask Dr. Joe in a second. So if you got some questions, please put them in the chat box, and I'll definitely get to you in a few seconds. Again, if you got some questions, put them in the chat box. And if you got more specific questions, or it's going to take a bit more time, then you can also book a one-on-one with me, where we can do a deep dive into the situations, any problems, or any difficult chances that you're facing. So to book a one-on-one, again, go to my website, www.joeasimo.com, www.joeasimo.com, and you can book a one-on-one. And my friends, I'm going to go to the comments. It's now 7:32, and let's see what questions you have. If you got some questions, please put them in the chat box, and I'll definitely get to them. Let's have a look. So, Datu, hey man, hope you're doing well in Phoenix. And as I said, I am back. In this cold weather, oh my God, it was snowing. What do you call it? It's raining heavy, and apparently, we had 6 or 8 inches of snow yesterday, and so I left an environment where it was 90 degrees, right down to an environment where it is 0. Okay, so if you got some questions, put them in the chat box. Great job, Dr. Joe. Love the points you're making. Make data-driven decisions. Yes, you do. You don't want to make emotional decisions. Try to make decisions based on data and facts and so on. So, welcome back, Dr. Joe, from Grace. How you doing, Grace? Hope you do well where you are. Again, if you got some questions, please put them in the chat box, and I'll try to get to them as soon as possible. Trying to readjust again back down to the USA time zone, but it should be okay. I feel very relaxed. I really enjoyed my vacation in Ghana, and hopefully I'll get the opportunity to do that again. Really had it. I really enjoyed it. We took some videos, so I'll be posting some videos about my trip, some of the exciting things that we did, great people that I met, and also the great food, nightlife, entertainment, social activity, cultural activities, etc. Check them out, and I'll get to you very shortly. Down to my house passed the first 2-year voucher inspection on Friday. Congratulations. Okay. This is my first voucher holder tenant. Okay, so what Dow 2 is saying is that as part of the Section 8 program, you are required to, conduct inspections by the local housing authority or PHA where your property is located. And the inspectors are looking for what they call housing quality standards, HQS. Make sure that the property meets HQS standards. The doors open, windows don't close. You got appliances in the right place, and no peeling paint, no electrical issues, no plumbing issues, no AC use issues, and so on. I mean, all this stuff is what is checked for the HQS, Housing Quality Standards inspection. And it sounds like Dow 2, just had a inspection on his property in Phoenix on February the 10th, so it's 2 days ago. And so hopefully, you got through that milestone, and hopefully the tenant's happy, and hopefully they'll stay even longer where you are. Good question. Congratulations, Dow 2. This is from Ty. Hey, Dr. Joe, just joined. Didn't realize you were back already. Yeah, I came back about 2.5 hours ago. I should be sleeping, but I thought, let me just do my Wealth Wednesday and share with you some of my experiences on this trip. This is from Kathy Hawkins. Hi, Kathy. Does the voucher program allow for shared housing model? Okay, you're going to have to clarify what you mean by a shared housing model, Kathy. I think what you're referring to is, will they allow somebody to stay in a home and several other people are living there as well? So it could be like a rooming house or situation like that. You may want to. Sorry. Okay, so I think Kathy has clarified that. She said unrelated residents sharing bedrooms. Oh boy. I do not think DCHA, or not DCHA, but Section 8 will allow you as a landlord to rent a house to a family. Let's say you rented a 4-bedroom house, and there are other people living there, and they're also sharing bedrooms. I don't know if that is going to be acceptable by the Section 8 program. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that typically they have their own rooms, and typically it's not a shared house. They got full access to the entire place as opposed to limited access because it's shared with unrelated people. So I could be wrong, Kathy, but I've never done that. I just get a house, screen well, try to locate great tenants, make sure they're happy, and they stay a long time. That's my formula. It works. And most of my tenants tend to stay 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 years, and so on. Okay, so let's have a look. Hopefully, I answered your question, Kathy. Please, clarify if I haven't. Let's have a look. What we got here? This is from Ty. What's the biggest reason you choose to sell a property versus hold? What's the biggest reason I give? I don't normally sell, but sometimes it's you want to enjoy the fruits of your labor. You just want to sell it. It's time. There's a lot of equity that's built up. You want to tap into that. Yes, there's going to be a tax consequence, but it just makes sense to sell. I have several properties like that. I've owned for a long time. They have a lot of equity. So what do I do? And I'm not really buying too much more. I'm just sort of protecting what I have. It just made more sense to sell. So, but 9 out of 10, I usually sell my houses, but every now and then it does make sense to sell. Hopefully that was helpful, Ty. Okay, let's have a look. This is from Edward Figbemi. You got no. I'm not sure what that refers to. I'm assuming that unrelated residence, it could be. Edward says no. I'm pretty sure the answer is no. Let's have a look. There would be a rate per person per bed. Okay, so it's always like a rooming house model where each person will have a bedroom, I suppose, and you pay for the bedroom. Plus, also you get access to some common areas in the home. Yeah, I haven't done that before, Kathy. So I'm not really an expert in that one. I don't do rooming houses. I just deal with one unit. So if there's anyone that feels like they can chime in on that one from Kathy, please let me know. Okay, so Edward has to be Studio 1, 2, and more. Okay, I think I've answered that question already. SHE Invest. What is going on? Catherine at Kathy Hawkins, my local housing authority, just as in this year, started to roll out a rent by the room program. Rent by the room program. Each tenant has to have their own room, and each room must have a locking door. So yes, it sounds like there are these programs out there where it's it's kind of it's semi-private. You got your own space, and there are other parts of it which you're selling. So I'm not really too familiar with this business model, but it sounds like it could work. But I would definitely speak to other people about it as well. Okay, 7:41. I'm gonna wrap it up in a second. If you got some questions, put them in the chat box. Otherwise, looking forward to meet with the folks this week on Ask Dr. Joe. They've booked a one-on-one with me, and if you feel that I can be of assistance to you on your real estate journey, please let me know. Book a one-on-one. You can go to my website, www.joeasamoah.com. That's www.joeasamoah.com. And you can book a one-on-one with me there. You can shoot me an email if you have questions on joe@joeasamoah.com, joe@joeasamoah.com. So, my friends, I'm going to wrap it up for today. I think we had a good session. So I will see you guys next week. And I think we got one more question here. SHE Invest. Kathy, my local housing authority, just as in this year, started to roll out a rent by the room program. Each tenant has their own room. Yeah, so it sounds like, your jurisdiction, they've started that program, so definitely worthwhile to check into it. I just haven't done it, so I'm not going to say yes or no, but I will suggest that you do some some due diligence, asking questions, etc. So my friends, I'm going to wrap it up. So I will see you next Wednesday. It will be my final one before I go off to Trinidad, which I'll be going to Trinidad next Saturday, probably for a couple of weeks. Trinidad and Tobago as part of the carnival for the Trinidad and Tobago Carnival next week. So with that said and done, my friends, I'm gonna wrap it up, and I'll see you guys next Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern time. So take care. Bye for now.